Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tristan Berks here, and I am a avid movie fan, TV watcher, and creative content creator, digital storyteller. And this is my colleague, my friend, and my boy, Greg Smith, and we are movie nerds, movie buffs. But we're not just
Big
movie
time.
fans and movie buffs. We call ourselves the Black Movie Fan, and we're actually starting a new initiative where we are going to be talking about all things movie and television related from a black movie fandom perspective. So we are really excited to get started with this. Obviously, for those that don't know, we have very strong opinions about the finale of WandaVision. But before we get started into that, Greg, share a little bit about yourself and a little bit about why you're excited about being here today.
Well, I watched the season finale. I guess the episode was actually called, I think, the series finale, and you know, uh, like contrary to popular opinion, the way I feel, and I guess the way you feel, doesn't jive with a lot of people. And to be honest, I feel like these people are not as big as fans as we are. Like, I feel
Yep.
I'm the biggest MCU fan, and I'm hey, at the end of the day, it's great that people love the show and think that the series finale was great. But I definitely don't think that way. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge MCU fan. Like they pretty much created the blueprint for how to do these superhero movies, and I'm actually surprised at how the way this episode ended.
Yeah, I am too. So let's set this up. First of all, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! For those of you that have not watched WandaVision, the final episode of WandaVision, which is episode 9, um, just let you know that we are going to go deep diving into spoilers, into things that did happen on the show, things that didn't happen on the show, why we think it didn't happen, what we thought would happen, and what we're kind of disappointed in. So just giving you that disclaimer again. Spoiler alert. Okay, you got that. You got like 2 minutes to get out of here. Um, by the way, if you're watching this on replay, type in where you're watching this from, whether it's LA, Chicago, Jamaica, Yugoslavia, wherever. It doesn't matter. We want to know where you're from. And if you're a black movie fan, then fists up to you. Yeah, so let's talk about it. Okay, so we jump into episode 9, right where we left off from episode 8, which was Agatha Harkness or Harding. Okay.
Harkness.
Harkness. Okay. Agatha Harkness having Wanda's children in some sort of like lasso, holding them and basically taunting Wanda to fight, right? And
Yeah.
Wanda's like, "Yo, listen, like, let go of my kids. Like, I just want, like, can we talk about this, whatever else?" And essentially, what happens within the first 5 minutes, we realize that what Agatha is trying to do is she's trying to actually draw in Wanda to get her powers, just like in the commercial we saw, the shark commercial in episode 7, where it's Yo Magic, I feed on Yo Magic, and that's basically what Agatha does, right? So she basically learns
Yeah.
people's magic, learns people's powers, and then sucks it from there because she's a very learned person. So that was cool. We start to see fight scenes. Obviously, we saw some fight scenes from before. There were a lot of questions, at least for myself, in terms of like, okay, well, while this is going on, what's Monica doing? Monica Rambeau, is his name Jimmy Chow or Jimmy Woo? What's his name again?
Yeah, I can't.
Let's
I
just say
don't
that.
remember his
Yeah,
last name, but it's Jimmy. But it is Jimmy.
yeah, Jimmy, right? Jimmy, the FBI agent, what he's doing, you know what I mean? What the sort of nerdy, like, girl from Thor is doing. Like, all these people are doing different
Darcy.
things. And we're
Yeah.
like, yeah, Darcy. So we're like thinking, okay, well, I'm thinking, okay, how is this all going to come to a conclusion? Because, again, they have to basically, they just introduced in episode 8, they introduced the whole idea of the Scarlet Witch. They introduced the whole idea of Agnes being like putting basically having her powers within this hex and learning about Wanda's backstory and us learning about Wanda's backstory. We have White Vision, we have Hex Vision, we have all of these different storylines going on, and it was just once I looked at the episode length and I saw it was 45 minutes, including credits. I was like, okay, well they're just not going to be able to tackle everything. It's not possible. What were your thoughts, Greg?
Yeah, no, I mean, so definitely if you didn't, I guess, stick around to the end of was it episode 8 where they did that little Easter egg for White Vision?
Yes, it was episode 8.
Yeah. So if you stuck around, you got to see White Vision. So you already knew. But if you didn't watch that, then of course, right in the first 5 minutes, you would have been like, what is going on? Because all of a sudden, White Vision shows up and, him and Wanda have this moment. And then obviously, we quickly find out that this is not the Vision that we've been knowing for the entire series. So
Which is
that,
interesting too,
yeah,
like the fact that he like tries to kill her, and I'm thinking like Vision has like superpowers, like he could have cracked her skull like super fast, like it was very dramatic, like to be
yeah.
like, huh. And then slowly like anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know that. I mean, that whole moment is questionable for sure, because if he was like 100% robotic and just
yeah,
operating within his objective, like he just would have got the job done and that would have been it. But it
hmm,
seemed like there was a little bit of a moment where, they were just like having that gaze into each other's eyes. And,
absolutely.
yeah, we'll get into the whole White Vision thing for sure. But yeah, it was, immediately action. The actual Vision we know shows up protecting
Mhm.
Wanda. And, it becomes this whole thing of like, okay, this is our home. Let's fight for it.
Yeah,
And like
which
everyone's
is
doing
again,
their thing.
and obviously it's Marvel, right? It's a superhero series, and you're going to have superhero ish moments and stuff like that. And I want to say this because I did put up a post on Facebook, and many people, responded back and were responding hard at me. And all I said was, I felt like the finale, the series finale, was a letdown. I didn't think I didn't say the show was a letdown. I didn't think that the show was hot trash. I thought that the way that we were brought to this sort of ascending moment, I just felt like it was very hard for the writers to be able to meet that level, because they started so slow and then they built off of that, and every single episode built off the next. And I felt like this was an episode where it didn't really it wasn't the best episode. That's my opinion, and I'll go into some of the details. But I think one of the things I will say first and foremost is I liked the action choreography. I did like that. I thought it was interesting. I thought the dialogue was funny, especially with Agnes, like, saying different things. Like, at one point she said, like, oh, this must be awkward seeing both of your ex-boyfriends duke it out. You know what I mean? Like, different things like that, witty dialogue. And I mean, again, Catherine, I think her name is Catherine Helgen, or Helen or something like that. She plays Agatha,
Mhm.
and she was brilliant throughout the whole series. She was really, really
Oh
funny,
yeah.
really, really witty. But I loved those moments, and I loved the moments throughout the episode where we kind of see this sort of Incredibles family unit put together in the hex. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, so pretty much from there we go to, now the kids, because previously Wanda had said, told the kids, like, go in the house, like, stay away. So then obviously the kids, seeing or kind of visioning what's happening, they run out to the scene, and then we kind of end up I guess, in the middle of town, and everyone's there. Essentially, yeah, everyone's there with Wanda, Vision, the kids, and then also, of course, Agatha. And then
Mm-hmm.
Agatha starts to explain all these things about, her being the Scarlet Witch and just being like, prophesied, being stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So,
Which
some
that's where
tidbits that we're getting there.
but that's where it got interesting. I don't know about you. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all know who the Sorcerer Supreme is, right? Like let's break that down. That
Yep.
is Doctor Strange, right? Right. And before Doctor Strange,
Yep.
it was his Doctor Strange's mentor. And if you hadn't seen Doctor Strange, then you wouldn't know the significance of Agatha saying like, you're stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. Like that's
Yeah.
big. That's really really big. And again, for those that aren't nerding out and don't know that the storyline, this storyline starts out in WandaVision, but it actually is connected to both Doctor Strange, a Multiverse of Madness, which is supposed to be coming out next year, and Spider-Man 3, No Way Home. So there are three giant franchises that are all connected, interconnected together. And this was sort of like if you're looking at units or books, or if it was like a Lord of the Rings trilogy book series, then this would be the first sort of part of the trilogy, and then now the next thing would be Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, which we're definitely all looking forward to.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
wait for that.
absolutely.
Oh my God.
So
I think we're getting it this year in November or December.
well, if movie theaters open up and everything goes well, yeah, we're
Yeah,
looking at that. So
fingers
okay, yeah.
crossed.
So then they're fighting, and they're talking about the what is it called? What is that book called again?
The book, it's called The
Yeah,
Stronghold.
the Stronghold. Yeah, is
Yeah.
it Stronghold
Mhm.
or the something hold? I think it's the Black Hold or something like that. Anyways, the Dark Hold,
Darkhold,
the
the
Dark Hold,
Darkhold.
Stronghold. You big Jamaican. No, so yeah, the Dark Hold is what Agatha has, and she's reading out of, and she's casting spells and whatever else, and then she starts doing some mind games and playing some mind games with Wanda by starting to release the different people that are in Westview out of this spell, out of the
Yeah.
hex spell. So
In
they
the
start.
in yeah,
Yeah,
in
sorry,
the
go ahead.
vicinity. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, in the
Yeah, no, just
vicinity.
saying that like the people who were around her that were
Hmm.
all watching and gazing, she released or removed Wanda's hold on them, and
Hmm.
now we see them revert back to their regular selves, and of course they're in complete distress because you would have thought that maybe they were sleeping or they wouldn't be aware and would kind of just like come to at the moment when Wanda took over everything, but
Yep.
no, like kind of in a nightmare way, they've been completely awake the whole time and observing what's happening while their body is doing other stuff. So that if you really think about it, that's like super freaky and like definitely like a whole nightmare scenario.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that this is where we really understand that, like, you know, Wanda is not the victim here, right? Like, I mean, we knew that Wanda wasn't a victim before, but like these people in Westview are the victims. They're the ones that are going
Mm-hmm.
through this hellish state, and it's not just that they're like they can't think and move and be free, but they actually have to feel and see her nightmares and see her dreams and feel her emotions and feel her frustration. So I mean, again, I think all of that was really interesting. I do think that it was kind of weird that yes, she's all powerful and she's this witch and she's put them under spell, but like I think if I was casted out of the spell, I would try and hold her, or I'd try and grab her. I'd try and do something aggressive because, again, I'm trying to
Yeah.
get my behind out of here and my family out of here, right? I don't know
Yeah.
about you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, that was crazy because like everyone was just like, they got broken free, and then everyone's
Hmm.
like trying to plead their case, like, oh, where are my kids? I want to just hold my kids and whatever. And it's like, okay, like would think people would be way more aggressive in that scenario.
Exactly.
Like everyone would have rushed towards her, and like maybe it would have been, if you remember from what was that scene from I think the Matrix Part Two, where all the Smiths pile onto Neo and
Yeah.
like he's stuck. Like I was expecting that kind of moment because definitely they had the numbers to take her on, but obviously she could have overpowered them. But even still, in that moment, she then just kind of, is starting to feel the pressure from everybody. And then we have a moment where she essentially attacks everyone and is essentially choking everybody because, she wants to silence
That
everyone.
was crazy. That was a
And
crazy moment. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it was intense. It was intense. It was like, oh man, like what's gonna happen now? Like,
Yep.
is this the moment where she crosses the line? Because we know that eventually like the Scarlet Witch is not always gonna be the good guy.
Yep.
So it was like, okay, are we gonna have that moment where this is it? Like she crosses the line. Because it's the series finale, and like we need to set things up for what's gonna come next. So
So
yeah,
sorry. So
go
this
ahead.
is one of the things that one of the elements that really bothered me about this episode and about sort of the way they were trying to wrap up certain things. They just didn't have enough time, right? Like they didn't have enough time. And
Yeah,
granted,
yeah,
yes, they want to give peeks and sneaks and blah 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 blah, right? But I still felt like they mismanaged certain opportunities. For instance, after episode 7, where
hmm
Monica gets her powers, she goes back to Hex, she gets her powers, and Monica Rambeau, and she's talking to Wanda, and then Wanda gets whisked away by Agatha.
hmm
She like we don't hear from Monica at all for like 2 episodes, and even in this episode, it was very like very thin, her storyline. Like even like the ending of her arc was just like she was in this room with the fake Quicksilver, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and we're like she's just chilling out there, and like he's running around having these Quicksilver powers, but he's not Quicksilver, but he looks exactly like the Quicksilver in the Fox universe. And then
yeah,
she somehow she was blocked by him at first, and then somehow she becomes aware of his powers, because that's obviously her powers, is to understand how things work. But like she's not super fast, she can't run faster than
yeah,
Quicksilver. So how does she catch Quicksilver? How does she surprise him when he can run the speed of light? Right, when he can
yeah,
basically outrun the Flash. He's basically the Flash for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it
yeah.
that was just convenient for me, convenient storytelling. And then she jumps on him, and then she sees that he's just wearing this necklace that's enchanted. But then it still doesn't answer the
hmm
question of like Wanda, like Agatha said something in the last episode saying that she didn't create Quicksilver. She just kind of like controlled him, because
Yeah. So
yeah, it
what she
just was
said
very
was that
confusing.
yeah, no, it was because as I have said in previous episodes, especially since this supposed brother of hers showed up,
Yeah.
like, and for anybody that knows, the actor that is playing him is the Quicksilver from the Fox universe.
Yep.
So, like, to me, I'm like, hanging on to this theory by like with dear life that, like, come on, Marvel, like, you need to use this. You've you've acquired Fox. You have the rights to all the characters now. Like, that is such a huge way to
Yep.
start to like need like do the threading to pull these universes together.
Hmm.
And they just kind of threw it away. Like, I mean, I know there's a story behind why they didn't use the actual actor who played Quicksilver. And I
Hmm.
mean, that's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, I think he wasn't available, but we'll definitely follow that up in the next time we record, because I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be the last time that we
Yeah.
talk
No,
about
not at all. Not at
WandaVision.
all. Not at all.
But I mean, yeah, it didn't make sense. Like, they just had Monica just kind of hold up in this attic, and then the guy's super fast for some reason, and it turns out, okay, he has that power just because of this enchanted necklace. Like,
Yeah.
that makes no sense. Like,
And
they could have easily tied it into like this guy. Like, she could have, instead of saying that like took over this person to just play her
mhm.
brother, like, they could have easily had something where, because Agatha's a witch, like, who
Yep.
knows if she doesn't have the ability to go into like other dimensions and stuff. Like, she could have just been like, oh, I just grabbed him from somewhere else, from like somewhere next door. And
Yep.
like, that's just like, play on words, like, oh, next door, next dimension.
It just didn't make much sense, because it was just very convenient that, okay, it was a convenient sort of like plot device to throw us off, because again, if for those of you that follow the Marvel Cinematic Universe, follow Fox, all that sort of stuff, you knew how fantastic it was to see. I think the actor's name is Evan Peters, to see Evan Peters
Yeah.
play Quicksilver. So again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, what are you doing, Marvel? Because like we know that you have the rights to these characters. Like, are you bringing them in? And then for them not to really to play it as like a fart joke, like, oh, like his name's whatever, Boner. What's his name? Something Boner. Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just dumb.
something boner.
It was just dumb. It was a wasted opportunity in my opinion. They didn't even have to bring in like
Yeah,
necessarily that component. Like they could have just done something different in terms of like
yeah,
I just felt like it was he didn't to me he didn't necessarily add value. He was just a giant distraction, and it was just more of
yeah,
a plot device to kind of distract the audience, which is fine. Like the whole show was all about being misdirected and not really knowing and getting clues and getting answering. You know, each episode would answer some questions and then create more questions. So that's cool. I just felt like it was kind of like a bait and switch. I didn't like that.
yeah,
Me personally, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's
No,
probably the biggest issue I had. And then I felt like they did so much with Monica, and then with her powers and you know this black strong female lead, somebody to root for, somebody who was just interesting. Like her story was interesting, and then they just fall flat on her. She ends up just being like doing the Matrix bullet time for the whole episode, and that's it. Like she didn't do anything else. Like
yeah,
there's nothing else that she actually does in the episode. And we waited like two
yeah,
episodes to see, you know, well when she opened up the whole the basement and saw Agatha's basement and her eyes were purple. What did that mean? Like
yeah,
there was nothing like they didn't really elaborate on that. You know, they didn't elaborate why she was locked up in the room. Like it was just kind of like, okay, Snitch is gonna or Snooper's gonna snoop, and that was a funny line, and then they just went on to the next thing. So there's just certain moments
yeah,
and certain beats that just were like left undone. I do think that once you start talking about um the Sorcerer Supreme, we know it's Doctor Strange, right? Like we
yeah.
should have, even if they didn't bring in Doctor Strange, they brought in like the other guy, his sidekick, or for his name is the Asian guy who's his
Uh,
sidekick.
Wong.
Wong, there we go. If they brought in Wong, that would have been dope. You know what I mean? That would have been something. But it's like the to the people, and I want to say this. I want to be very very clear. Okay, these are the things that I'm nitpicking about because again, I may not say I'm a Marvel super fan, but I follow Marvel movies. I understand the comics. I do a lot of things, right? But I'm also an avid storyteller, and I think about things from the standpoint of like if my wife is watching you know this television show, can she get it? Do you have to be a Marvel fan, a Marvel fanboy or fangirl to be able to enjoy this show, or is this just an enjoyable standalone show? And unfortunately for me, every time I was watching the show, I always felt like I like I'm enjoying it because I know about the cinematic Marvel universe. I know some of these hints. I'll go and watch a YouTube video and get more clues and get more information about you know what the significance of the Darkhold, you know, in the comic books. But most people won't, right? And most people are casual watchers, and they're just like, "What is this? Like, this doesn't make any sense."
Yeah,
So that's the part I feel is the weakest part of the show is the fact that it is so dependent. It's very codependent on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the movies, you know, the television shows, all that sort of stuff. If you didn't see any of those things, or you were a casual viewer of those things, then this show won't make a lot of sense in terms of the broader brushstrokes. Now, as a standalone like show that you're just watching, it's very entertaining. There's a lot of mystery, and there's a lot of things that make me go, that's pretty dope. What are your thoughts?
well, you know, I was just thinking about the next part where it's like the scene that, you know, I know you definitely have some thoughts on, where we have this, I guess, Neo meeting the architect moment where Vision and White Vision have
Yeah,
a conversation, and it's like super high level. I mean, you know, we're definitely going to dive into that whole conversation in the next video.
yeah.
But I mean, the part of it that just was like, okay, like he implanted like this apparition, like we know Vision technically doesn't exist. And we know that he had no prior memories. He did
He
not
said
know
that,
about the Avengers, nothing. And the only way he knew of stuff was through his conversation with Darcy, if we remember, in the ice cream truck.
which is
So
which is
I'm gonna
which
let you go. I'm gonna let you go off.
my whole and this is the thing that's insane is that Darcy wasn't even a first like she wasn't even a first responder or like a person that was like saw it for herself, experienced like Infinity War for herself. She wasn't even a character that was like, yes, she was on Earth, but she wasn't like
Mhm.
in it. She wasn't fighting or anything like that. So for her to be able to describe and communicate all those sort of things, that didn't make any sense. Like it made sense from a third person standpoint, but then when you have Hex Vision giving or unlocking. Some people are saying unlocking the memories that were in Vision, the White Vision's mind. It just doesn't make any sense. Like
Mm,
it makes no sense to me in the sense of like, or you know what? Let's not say it doesn't make sense. It's just very convenient. It's very convenient to basically say like, okay, now this White Vision who's remade by you know Sword is now going to seem obviously be the new Vision, and he's
yeah.
but the thing that's frustrating is like it's just so easy. It's like, okay, well, how did the Hex Vision know how to unlock the memories of the White Vision? How did the White Vision's memory banks not get so damaged to the point where he couldn't, like, he could still get back all of those memories and all those emotions?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like
Yeah.
it was just very convenient. Like that whole part of that scene, I liked the philosophical part about the replacing of planks and like the whole riddle
Yeah, with the tree.
about the boats,
Yeah.
yeah, about the boats. So that was
Yeah.
cool.
And
That
both.
was really
Yeah.
cool, and that was interesting. There was a lot of interesting moments throughout throughout this whole episode, but I just felt like that was a little lazy in my opinion. And then he just flies away, like White Vision flies away.
That's
We don't
it.
know where he goes. Like he
We
just
never we
gets
never see him
yeah,
again.
he just gets these memories and he flies away. What? I didn't
No,
even
it's
understand.
the iconic line. It's the iconic line. He's just, his eyes change. They go from just being like, I guess, like completely blue and like a
Yeah.
dead like sea, and until like it forms into the eyes, like
Yep.
regular eyes, and he's like, "I am Vision," and then he's gone.
Yo, honestly, I'm just yeah, I was a little perplexed by that. That didn't make any sense to me. Um,
No.
no, didn't make any sense to me in the sense of like the way the story was, and like the way, if it was so easy to unlock his memory banks, like it just literally 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago, Hex Vision had no memories of what he went through, right? And then
Hmm.
by the time the season finale happens, now all of a sudden Hex Vision knows enough to be able to unlock the White Vision's memory banks. And not only that, when Hex Vision has the conversation with Wanda at the end, Wanda's like, "Oh,
Hmm.
you're like my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. You're the Mind Stone. You're this, all that sort of
You're a
stuff."
part.
So yeah, so if that's the case, then why didn't he have those memories from day one? Why did he only have the
Well, I think
memories
it.
from?
I think it's fair to say that, she obviously did not pass on, somehow did not pass on those memories. Like
Even though she doesn't know
he
what she's
only
doing.
had she doesn't know what she's doing. Like she just knows that she thinks it and then it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
That's pretty much it.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah, but going from there, we have a fun little scene where Agatha's standing on the rooftop, and
yep,
then Wanda sneaks up on her and like
yep,
gets into her mind, and then now we're back in Salem again. Like the whole scene that we had with Agatha when we were shown her backstory in the previous episode, of her being at the witch trials.
yep. And that's and I think that was really an interesting um, sort of setup. We're thinking it's actually a callback, to be honest with you, to Age of Ultron, when we see
Mm-hmm.
Wanda do that to Tony Stark and to all of the Avengers, right? And they start losing their minds and seeing all this sort of stuff. So that was a cool callback. And then it was a cool flip of the script and really showed you how powerful Agatha was, in the sense of, Agatha can see and is susceptible to people's magic, but then can also
Yeah.
understand it quickly. So she's very much like what Monica Rambeau is, but instead of just being having a power, she actually has knowledge and understanding to be able to understand the complexities of magic and that sort of dark energy, and be able to then transmit it and learn it and take it from people. So that's really really interesting, and I really want to see what they do with Agatha long term, because I think it'll be really really cool
Yeah.
and really special what they do, if they do anything with her.
Well, we're gonna get to that for sure, because that's
Yeah.
definitely one of the things that
Yep.
needs to be talked about. But from there, after that, we get a little, while they're in this, I guess, memory or in the past, like,
Yep.
Wanda gets, it kind of turns on Wanda, and we have a little moment where she starts to, a little foretelling. She gets her iconic little red glow of her Scarlet Witch mask,
Yep.
which is crazy. And then, they break out of that, and then we're back into like present day. And, a big battle's ensuing between her and Agatha. And, we just see that throughout this whole episode that Wanda's arms, like her hands, it starts off with her hands and then
Yeah.
going to her arms, that they're turning black, like I guess signifying that Agatha has been stealing her powers or stealing her energy.
Yeah, exactly. Just like she did the episode before, right? Episode 8. We saw
Mm-hmm.
the origins of Agatha's storyline and how she basically took all the magic from her mother and all the other witches and things of that nature. That being
Mm-hmm.
said, so like let's jump into so okay, cool. Like let's go to the final battle scene where like we're basically
the
Wanda has to
the
make that
huge
decision, right?
revelation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
like let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are your thoughts on it because all these things happen, whatever else. Agatha obviously is stealing Wanda's magic, and then she's like, "Listen, you got to make a decision. Like, you have to open your." Wanda opens up the hex for all the people to leave and to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Westview, and then as the hex is closing up, she's realizing that her kids are gonna die and disappear, and Hex Vision
Mm-hmm.
is gonna disappear. And she's like, "Well, now you have to make a decision, right?" Agatha's like,
Yeah.
"You either teach me or give me your powers, and then I'll create a hex for you, and you can stay here and stay with your family, or you lose your family, and basically you're alone again." And she has to make that sort of sacrificial decision, and they go up in the air and they start fighting, right? Right, and Wanda
Yeah.
says, "Have at it," right? What do you think about that part?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess she was willing to take her on, and then like, by the end of it, we're like, oh my gosh, like she lost. Like Agatha took all her power, and we see like Wanda just kind of just floating there, and she like by this point she's like completely black. You could see like all the energy has left her,
Mm-hmm.
but then we get the huge revelation, which was it was a cool moment. Like
Yeah.
we start to see the walls of the hex, right? Like we see like
Well,
what's
but
been going
it
on,
wasn't
and
it
then
wasn't even just that though. But it was like Agatha
mhm,
tried to use the powers,
mhm.
right? Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So and
And
that's why.
then yeah, go ahead.
No, no, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, then we see, like, we just have that. It's just a huge moment of like, Wanda has now flipped the script. She basically says Agatha's words again. Only the witch, who has like created the runes, like, can use her magic. And like, obviously, we're not in Agatha's space anymore, and obviously, Wanda's space is massive, and it's over. Like, we see her now absorb
Mm-hmm.
everything and like take it all. And to think about it, obviously Wanda's powers are amazing as they are already, but then now she's taking Agatha's power, and you're talking about literally centuries. Like if you count it, it's literally like over 500 years of knowledge and power, and it's
Well,
like
well, remember,
now
it's,
you're
it's
giving
not
it to
knowledge. Remember, it's not knowledge because she
yeah,
doesn't know what she's doing, but it's power.
yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
power, just power. Yeah. So, and I mean, yeah, that's crazy. So now Wanda has this ability to take power, which is just crazy, and we're definitely going to see how they use
Is
that
it
down the
power or
line. But
magic?
I guess when you say power, you could essentially think of it as magic. Like I
Yeah.
guess if from the standpoint of Agatha, yeah, it would just be magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think about that because they're talking about magic and they were very very intentional about saying that not Agatha but Wanda was a natural born witch. She was not a natural
Mm,
born mutant. That she's a natural
okay.
born witch, right? And that's something that I
Okay.
that I that it wasn't a letdown for me. I actually thought it was kind of interesting that they went that route where it's like she's the Scarlet Witch. She has the chaos magic. She's the one that is going to basically just have the power to destroy the world. And Agatha says something really kind of bone chilling where she's like, "You have no idea what you are and what power you possess and what you're gonna let into this world, right?" Like, and it's like
Hmm.
it's almost harkening back to that idea in Doctor Strange where it's like when Doctor Strange like has his stone, right, which is I think controls
Yep.
time or something, and
Yep.
and like
Yep.
and like he has all these other things that he's learning that all of his colleagues are saying, yo, like, this is not stuff to play with. This is not like kitty magic. This is
Yeah.
real stuff, like, and with real consequences. And until he had a respect and reverence for this knowledge, he couldn't be the Sorcerer Supreme until then. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think I really do think that that's the most interesting thing for me is like the play on like, okay, where are they taking Wanda? Is she good? Is she bad? She's kind of good and she's kind of bad. We don't really know, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like just loose ends. Like, what do you think about the? Let's talk about the mid credit scenes. So
Well, wait.
okay, what do you
Before
want to
we
talk about?
go
Okay,
there,
okay.
let's just talk. Okay, so let's just talk about the ending because
Okay.
at this point, Wanda absorbs all the powers.
Yep.
Somehow, absorbing all this power gives her a new suit, which had many conversations with wifey about it.
Of course.
Like,
Of course.
makes no sense that like out of nowhere she gets this like awesome suit, but
Yeah. Of course.
look dope, cool, awesome. It's as Marvel has done, like making these modern versions of like the characters from the past.
Which
So
looked good. It looked good.
suit, yeah, it looked good. It looked really good, and really. Honestly, if you think about it, if you look at it again, it does have some like styling to like even just Magneto. Like I was like, oh, okay, like that, it looks dope. But anywho, she gets the power. Agatha's defeated now, and Wanda tells Agatha, like, you know what I'm gonna do with you? You're gonna stay here. You're gonna play the character that you were, which is the nosy neighbor. But what doesn't make sense is that by the end of everything, Wanda takes away the hex. Like,
Yep.
my thought was that, oh, okay, maybe Wanda is gonna leave the hex like just around a house or something, and then just have Agatha stuck there, like just in whatever role, like with her mind controlled, playing a character. But like we didn't see that. Like she completely destroyed the hex, like it was gone. Like we saw it close up right to where it started and it's gone. So then it was like, oh, like, so she's not keeping Agatha there? Like, where is she gonna keep her? Like, I feel like they completely like just they overwrit their own storyline. Like they basically put themselves in a spot, right?
And maybe it's one of those things where because again, if you look at Westview now, Westview is totally free from the hex.
Yeah.
And Wanda only has to control or have a spell for one person, and that's Agatha. So maybe that makes sense from that standpoint, where she's only controlling one person, and she's supposed to be more like supreme, more better than this whatever supreme sorcerer, supreme whatever, right? So technically that could work. Now that I'm thinking about it,
yeah.
The other
Fair
thing that
enough.
doesn't make sense is like, okay, Westview is free from the hex. Where the heck are the kids? The children there's still no children running around. Like, what is going on?
I was so confused by that.
There's no
like
children.
I was wondering, like, yeah, I was like, okay, maybe the kids are all gonna come running out of the houses. Oh, happy to see you, mom and dad. What? Like none of that.
There's none
like
of
it
that.
was like, oh, so are the kids like, like where are the kids? Like, another plot, another like, another loose end, I guess.
Yeah, we have children for like one episode. Like I think it was episode 7, right? The Halloween episode. That's the only time we see children, and after that we don't see children. So it's really, really interesting. Let's talk about the two credit
End credits.
End credit scenes. What do you think about the Monica's end credit scene?
I mean, it was like I thought it was okay. Like it was dope. Like I mean, obviously, if you are aware of all the different Easter eggs and stuff, because you wouldn't know the connection unless you saw the Easter egg from Spider-Man Far From Home, where it was revealed that for the entire, well, again, spoilers if you haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home yet, but
spoiler alert.
Oh man, spoiler alert. So if by the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, it's revealed that the Nick Fury that we were seeing the whole time is actually not Nick Fury. It was one of the Skrulls. And then we see that Nick Fury has actually been up in space the entire time, preparing for, you know, the next level of defense for Earth, which
Mm.
is essentially Sword. So now as Phase 4 rolls out, we start to see, you know, Sword start to play a bigger role. And, you know, Monica's told like, hey, you know, he wants to see you up there. So, you know, of course, wifey was like, what? Like, what does that mean? You know, I had to explain that whole, you know, Easter egg from Spider-Man and everything. So, you know, but for your average person, they're just going to be confused. They're just going to be like,
But
what?
then, but then
Like,
that
and that's,
brings, but then that
yeah,
brings another frustrating point. Again, if if he's asking for her, if this is Samuel Jackson as what's his name,
Nick
as
Fury.
Nick Fury,
Mhm.
then that means Nick Fury has been watching this whole Wanda debacle the whole time, and he hasn't done
Oh,
anything.
yeah. Yeah.
That makes
Nope.
no sense. Like that makes
Really?
absolutely
No,
no
no.
sense.
I think it's okay. Like I feel like you know, to a certain level, it's kind of like, okay, like the organization is too big now, so you need to have like someone on the ground, and then you need to have like someone who runs like up in space.
Okay, well, I guess so. I'm again a convenience because again you're
Yeah.
having. I mean, like it's convenient. Like you don't see Hawkeye, you don't see you would think even they would get like the B or C tier Avengers like Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, or Falcon to come in and do some stuff. Again,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of like practically in the real world. Now, in the real world, would there be a Scarlet Witch? No. But I'm saying if there was, and we had these other superheroes, they would probably get a call to come into the Hex and try and do some stuff. I'm just saying.
We
I'm
need
just
some
saying.
help, guys.
Exactly. Plain and simple. Please extract the asset. You know what I mean? That's it. So yeah, okay. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. It was kind of like inevitable. Like we know that Monica Rambeau is going to be in the next Captain Marvel. We
Hmm.
just the writing's on the wall already, right? She's from Captain Marvel. That character was established in Captain Marvel as a child.
Hmm.
I
Right.
like I really like the actress that plays Monica Rambeau. I think it's like she's just strong. She's sassy. She's sexy. She's just intelligent. She has passion. She's genuine. Like I just love how she plays the character. It's really really good. Um, and I'm excited to see what they do with her in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how they incorporate other black characters, black superheroes into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That being said, it was cool. Like I felt like they had to do that because they knew that they didn't do anything with her for like 2 episodes. So they're like,
Right.
okay, we have to give people a bone. Like we spent a lot of time with Monica, and she seemed like things are happening with her. So we got to throw the audience a bone so they stay with us. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So at this point, like just to put you in the moment, so you know the first the you know special end credit scene rolls, it plays, it finishes. I am cussing like
Yep.
like
Yep.
I am like furious because I'm like, what really? Like honestly, I wasn't expecting a end credit scene just because you know Marvel
I
kind of
was.
pulled away from it. They weren't doing it every episode. Like we saw it
Mm-hmm.
that one time, and then like from there I think yeah. So for the last 3 episodes, we got the end credit scene.
Well,
So that's fine.
but I was kind of expecting it, Greg, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
because I always pause and look at the timing, and I'm like, there's still 7 minutes left. There's no way that
Yeah,
there's gonna be 7 minutes of credits. There's gonna be something. It
yeah.
has to be. I said there
Yeah.
has to be. Give me Doctor
So
Strange immediately.
I was livid. Like I was just like, man, like really that's it? Like and like I was like for however long it was from the first end credit scene to the second end credit scene, that entire time I was cussing. Like I was so upset because you know, I had expectations like, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, it's not to say that, you know, was internet speculation or whatever else. This was from, you know, the man himself, Kevin Feige. He said specifically that WandaVision is gonna tie into like it's gonna lead up to Doctor Strange. So I was like, okay, like
Yeah, but that could
something
mean anything,
major
honestly.
has to happen. Yeah, it can mean anything. That's fine. But honestly, like when the second end credit scene started to roll, I was like, oh, I was like, okay, let me just like stop. Let me stop talking. I'm gonna just like take this thing in 100%, and that's where it was.
I was like, I just kept on fast forwarding it. I was watching it with my son, and we were like, no, it can't be over, it can't be over. And then we saw the thing, and we were like, okay, cool. And we saw this amazing drone shot, and I'm big
Yeah,
into cinematography and stuff like that. But like, there's this drone shot, and then it fades again, cuts into another drone shot, and then there's a shot that takes you like from far to see like this cabin, in the hills somewhere in like the Rocky Mountains of Vancouver or something, and it slowly pans into Wanda sitting on the 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 front of the house, the steps, and she's drinking a coffee or something, and then she gets up, and it's continually following her right into the house, and then
yeah,
the camera turns, and we see basically like a ghost Wanda, right? Like Scarlet Witch ghost Wanda going through the dark hold and basically reading it and doing all
yeah.
this big thing, basically harkening back to what we experienced and what we saw in Doctor Strange, right? How Doctor Strange, and even when he was Doctor Strange looking at the using the time stone to see all the different variations of how the end game
The timeline.
yeah, the
Yeah,
timeline would end. All of those, so it just harkens back to that. So that was a really really cool moment. Um,
yeah,
what for me, what was a little bit of a letdown. It was cool, but it wasn't cool because I still felt like, man, it would be cool to be like to cut to Doctor Strange or to cut to Wong and say, do you
yeah,
feel that? What's going on? Do you hear those kids or whatever? Right? That would have been fantastic. I think that
yeah.
just that
But
extra little bit of sauce.
yeah, no, and like me, honestly, I feel like that would have been really like above and beyond. Like I personally wasn't even expecting to see like Doctor Strange or whoever. Like, yes, they've done like Easter eggs like that before, or end
Mm-hmm.
credit scenes where like they show completely different characters. Cool, they could have done that. That would have been like way, like I would have been satisfied, like beyond satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
But like with what they showed, like it wasn't enough. Like it was cool. Like, obviously Wanda's like in this place now where she's just like she's by herself. She's like basically at peace, but she's studying. She's like, learning.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then what happens? We hear like, as she's studying, we hear her, or not hear. We don't hear her. She hears her kids, who
Yep.
we obviously saw previously that they disappeared. So how is this possible? What's going on? There's so many questions, but I feel like that was weak. You know what would have been nice?
Mm-hmm.
After you heard the voice of the kids, it would have been awesome if we heard something like, let's say, I don't know, Doctor Strange, his voice saying like something like release them or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Just like
yeah.
that,
It would have been dope.
that
It
would
was.
have been so powerful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not, you didn't have to show Doctor Strange or anything. It just was his voice saying like something like release them. Like, so obviously that would have indicated he's talking to somebody. We know where it's going in regards to her kids, because we know her kids are,
Mm-hmm.
big characters right now in the Marvel universe. So, man, so many
Think
missed
about even.
opportunities.
But and this is the other thing I would say to people that are like saying, "Oh no, I don't agree with you, Tristan, Greg. You guys are whack. You guys don't understand. It opens up everything, it sets the foundation for everything." Okay, yada yada yada. Okay, this is our opinions. You deal with it. Okay, go suck an egg or something. But I think the big thing for me is that when you look at the history of the MCU, you look at like the first Iron Man, or sorry, the first Iron Man, the first Incredible Hulk. They had dope cutscenes. They had like, yo, we're thinking of like putting together a squad. Are you interested?
Mm,
Oh, the that square box, the Tesseract. What is that? Like,
mhm,
there's so many things that were so clearly defined that like they were hinting to stuff, but they were also like, oh, that leads to this, or this person is important for that. And they didn't do any, like they
mhm.
had an opportunity to just add a little more zing to it, and they didn't even add any zing. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was cool. Like again, when I say that I really loved the show, I really loved the show. I thought the show was really really cool, and not in a traditional standpoint, like not in a traditional superhero standpoint. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was intriguing. It was enraging
Yeah.
and maddening at times, and that's good. Like it's pulling on my emotions. The part that was challenging for me was just like I felt like they were reliant, the writers and the creatives, to a certain standpoint, were very comfortable and reliant on the fact that, well, in order for you to understand this, you gotta be a Marvel person, right? And I just feel like
Mm.
that's a missed opportunity. I feel like that is where it let down for me. That was the weakest parts of the actual series, was the fact that, like, if you're not into Marvel movies, then you can't fully really enjoy this, right? I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just my thoughts on it. What would you, if you were scoring this out of 10, this series out of 10, what would you score it, Greg?
The series out of 10?
Yeah,
Oh man. Wow. Okay, I guess this is Marvel's first, TV show for, like, under
from Kevin
5 years.
Feige.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
their Yeah, this is their first show. So, oh man, the number that's floating in my head is like, I'm floating over a 6 or a 7. I don't know which one to pick. Like,
Mm,
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it was, a great show overall, but
yeah.
it was definitely tough in the beginning. Like, it was a slow ramp up, and
Hmm.
then, things started to really pick up, and, it started to get interesting, and, like, more intrigue into the story and whatnot. But I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm the biggest Marvel fan out there, but I'm not a stan. Like, I'm not afraid to say, like, hey, you know what? Like, the season 9, like, ending, was, for me, it was
Yeah.
a L. Like, I
You're
I did not like it at all.
you're very. I have to say, you are pretty harsh. I think I would probably give it about 7.5 to 8. Honestly, like,
Mm,
I enjoyed, like, after episode. I would say after episode 3. I would
mhm,
say even episode 3. I would say from episode 3 to episode 8. I mean, it was captivating. Like, everything about it was captivating. That show was like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, it was just a great show. Um, I think the weakest episodes, like, if you're doing like a 8 episode series, or sorry, 9 episode series, and 6 of the
mhm,
episodes are like rock solid, like entertaining, and that's not to say the other three, like episode 1, 2, and 9, are not entertaining. I just didn't find them
mhm.
as powerful and as potent as, like, you know 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Those were like
Mhm.
wicked. Right? So I think because
Yeah.
of that, I mean, and those were beyond just solid. Like, they were, most of them were like B plus A, like A minus B plus, if not higher. You know what I mean? For each grade
Okay.
of episode. So I would say, yeah, definitely. I would probably give it about an 8. Um, Overall, I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it. There weren't my favorite characters. I loved, when you look at, like, the acting and the performances. You look at the different eras that were celebrated, the way they tied it all together, the storytelling, the arcs. It was really good, and I think the biggest thing for me, like, that was the biggest win and success for this particular series, was the way that they made me a fan of Wanda and Vision. And the show's called
Mhm.
WandaVision, and their relationship and their romance and their chemistry. I mean, it was really good. Like, especially the last 2 episodes, where we really see how
Mhm.
their relationship developed and was formed, and then we see how
Yeah.
deep the connection was, especially in episode 9, the finale. It's some
Yeah.
great stuff, man. Like, it's some
Yeah.
award winning stuff that they put out. I mean, other than kind of sidelining the black character a little bit, I really, I did enjoy it. You know what I mean? I did enjoy it. So I'll give it an
Yeah.
8. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you
Okay.
guys think? Let's throw it out to the audience. Again, we are the Black Movie Fan Club. My name is Tristan. This is Greg, and we are just excited. We're just talking about the WandaVision episode 9. We're having just kind of a review and a recap, full spoilers recap on the show. And again, if you have any sort of questions, comments, if you totally disagree with us, just comment below, like, share, and subscribe. And also, let us know if you have any questions for us, or if you have any movies that you want us to review that are, maybe really dope movies that nobody knows about. Maybe they're black movies, independent movies, whatever else. We'd love to know about those things as well. Any last words, Greg?
Hey, subscribe to everywhere we are, because
Yes,
we are going to be
exactly.
pushing out more and more content.
Yeah.
Looking forward to what's next. I think we got Falcon and Winter Soldier in like
Yes. That's gonna be
what is that, two
definitely,
weeks?
yeah, that's gonna be week by week by week by week. That's in, yeah, so
Yep.
that's the 15th or the 18th or something. It's starting. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, listen, uh, Disney's killing it. Okay, there's Falcon Winter Soldier, then
Yeah.
there's Loki, there's Eternals is supposed to be coming out, a whole bunch of stuff. So a lot of stuff, and then we're also doing movie reviews. One of the next movie reviews that we're going to be doing is Judas and the Black Messiah, as well as
Yes.
Coming to America 2, which is
Yeah.
did you get to see that, Greg?
I didn't see it yet.
Okay,
I
okay,
actually
okay,
watched
okay.
part one. I just did like a refresher last night.
She's
So
a
it was
queen to me. Yo, that's what I'm talking about, yo. What are we talking about? What are we talking about right now? All right.
oh
Listen, guys,
gosh.
you guys have a safe and blessed and creative weekend. Definitely hit us up if you want to be a part of the discussions. We're definitely going to be opening up so that people can come on live and talk about some of these different spoilers and different shows and movies. We want to have debate. We want to have fiery debates. We're all right. We're ready for that. That's what this is all about. You know, we got to have some spice, right? We are the Black Movie Fandom Club, so let's put some spice into that. Talk to you guys later. Peace.